So I wanted to do something a little different that I haven't done before, and let's talk about my current work in progress, the book I'm editing at the moment. So I wrote the story for the Oddish Questor's first book, team book, and it's the Bigfoot case, and I sent it off to an editor, Zach Bohannon, a good friend. He's written a great post-apocalyptic zombie series called Dead South. Look it up. I was a advanced reader for him on that first book. He's up to 9 now, but he's doing some coaching with me and some editing. And he got my manuscript and read it, and he complimented me, which I felt good about. He says, from the first thing I read of yours several years ago to now, you definitely have progressed and improved as a writer. And that's great. I love that, appreciate that. Validation, because writers will tell you, we get imposter syndrome very easily, thinking we're the worst writer that's ever been. But he made a comment near the end of the book. There was a part where the Oddish Questor team was getting ready to go out to their final journey, final battle, you could say, with the Bigfoot. And we had been along for the ride. We knew all the stuff they did in the investigation. So I, as the narrator, said, okay, we know what went on. I'm not going to bore you with the details. They caught each other up, and now we're all together. And it was just a cute, funny way for me to not rehash a scene with everything people already knew. He said, you need to take this out, because that voice of the narrator telling the audiences, breaking that fourth wall, you don't have it anywhere else in your book. It's kind of, different than anything else. It's a little jarring, and you should take it out because you don't have it anywhere else. And I sat and thought about that. Now, a lot of people dislike editing. I view editing as where the book really starts to come together. I've got the basic story, but that's really all it is. If I get a good edit and I take the time to really go through it, I can make it shine much better through this process. And I thought about what he said, and I realized, no, I needed to do the exact opposite to achieve what I wanted. I've wanted to do this tone of somebody sitting at a campfire telling a story. How do you tell stories? With the narrator's going, and then you know what Susie does here, don't you? He interjects little things. Or we've all seen Sam do this before. You can guess what happens, right? When people tell stories, that's how we tell it. It's like we're talking to our buddies right there and telling them the story, and they laugh because they get the joke when I, as the narrator, say something like that. That's what I wanted, but that's not what I had achieved. So I realized Zach was right. I hadn't done that anywhere else in the book, but instead of changing that part, I needed to change the rest of the book, which is a much bigger prospect. So now that's what I've been doing, is going through the book and taking out all the third person over the shoulder and changing it to a narrator telling the story. Instead of getting in the characters' heads, I have a narrator explaining what they're thinking or feeling, or little interjections, fourth wall. If you've seen Deadpool, you understand how this works, right? How often did Deadpool look at us as the audience and make the joke, right? That's essentially what this is. I wanted that laid back feel. So I've been changing a lot of things, but I think the book is really coming together. I'm very excited to get this book done. But I wanted to share, for those of you that go through your own struggles with editing, what I've been doing. So here we have an original piece. She hit enter and sat back grinning. She knew that everyone at the medieval Ren Fair would be hearing this message broadcast over every speaker in the place. The poor sound tech probably had a heart attack and was scrambling to figure out what was going on. Okay, it's fine. It's nothing great. I mean, it's not going to get people running to the bookstore, but it fits what the story is in that. But there's some things that could be changed. And, there's things I may write that others may do differently. That's called, our own writer voice, right? Like she hit enter and sat back, comma, grinning. Some people might put she hit enter, comma, sat back and grinned. Very much the same. Some people would say get rid of the passive voice with grinning, but the way I do it a lot of times is like it is here. So I'm going to leave it so I don't again, have one thing that's different than the other, unless my editor really says this really is jarring and needs to be taken out. So, but what I changed the next sentence to was, she hit enter and sat back, comma, gritty. And just like that, she hijacked an entire public events audio feed. Don't try this at home. Right then, everyone at the medieval fair would be hearing this message broadcast over every speaker in the place. The poor sound tech probably had a heart attack and was scrambling to figure out what was going on. Totally, I read it different because the way I read it is the way I want the reader to hear that voice in their head. And this whole, and just like that, she hijacked an entire event's audio feed. Don't try this at home. That's, Deadpool talking to the audience. That's the narrator doing that little aside. Hey, we know these guys. This is what's going on. That's the voice I've been trying for, the tone. And I think I'm starting to achieve it. Again, I know putting this out there, there could be a lot of other people, a lot of other Oscars. Oh, well, this sucks. Your grammar's horrible here. This, that, and the other thing. So fine, you're not the one editing my book. And if you don't like it, don't get the book to read it. I think that bit that I added here gives it the tone I want. And it's just fine. If Stephen King wants to tell me how to do it different, I'll listen to him. But some other people who I don't even know that just want to cause problems, I'm not going to listen to because I'm achieving what I want. And I hope everybody reading it enjoys it this way. So this is just the first video I wanted to do like this. I may do others. You may get some other little pieces of the story coming up with things like this, showing what I've edited, what I've changed, the writing process as it is. So hopefully, you take a look at my website, see what events I have coming up, come and meet me. If you are a parent in Northeast Ohio, I'd love to talk to your kids if they're interested in reading, if they're interested in writing, if they're interested in the video game storytelling, which I do classes for. If they would love to do video games and they like to tell story, hey, that's a great position to get, narrative designer. If you're a teacher, a librarian, I'd love to come and do a talk, love to do a workshop. I've got several different workshops. They're on my website. You can check them out. So I hope people will see this and maybe have some questions, even want to discuss it. Come and find me at some of the events I'm going to be at over the next couple months. So thanks again, and enjoy the adventure.